Next up, we're going to talk about one of the most important elements and one of the most commonly used elements, the anchor element, the A tag, which is what we use to create a hyperlink. So this is how we can link to another web page, an email address, a file, or even just a location on the same page that we're currently on. You may have seen that before, where you can click and you'll scroll down to some other place on the page. But most frequently, these are used to create hyperlinks to go to another page. So the syntax is very similar to what we've already seen before. Opening tag, closing tag, this time the letter A. And then we put some content inside. So if I wanted to make some link, let's just do it up top so we can see it. Sure, we'll just do it right here. Anchor tag A, I am a link. Okay, so let's save and refresh our page. It doesn't appear to be a link. It's not clickable. It's not quite there. And that's because we're missing one very important, one crucial piece of every anchor tag, which is where the link goes to. What is the destination? So we need to use something called an attribute. Attributes in HTML are like little pieces of information we can pass in to a tag. So not in between an opening and closing tag, but actually inside one of the tags. And the particular attribute that we want here is called href. Every single time we make a link with an anchor tag, we will use href. I can't even remember what it stands for. Is it a hyperreference? I don't know. Okay, close enough. Hypertext reference. It doesn't matter though. This will be on every single anchor tag you make. And it follows this pattern. So href equals and then quotes. And notice I'm putting this once again inside of that A tag. So after the A, but before the closing bracket there. So href equals, and then in here I put a URL or a destination. So I could do something like, well, you might think google.com. Let's see what happens there. Google.com. I'm going to refresh the page, and first off, hallelujah, we've got a clickable link now. So that's working. What happens when I click? Not quite. If you notice what URL it tried to take me to, I'll copy this and blow this up over here so you can see it. It tried to go to the current URL I was on, /google.com. That's not what I want, probably. Most likely, I want to actually go to google.com, which I need to explicitly reference using www to say that this is on the World Wide Web. This is not a file that I have called google.com. What I need to do here is actually specify I want http://www.google.com. The reason for this is that technically right now, if you notice right here, it says I'm viewing a local or shared file. I am actually not using the HTTP protocol. This is a bit above what you need to know right now. I'm on the file protocol. So if I link to google.com, it just thinks there's a file called google.com relative to where I am right now. But if I want to actually go to a website, HTTP is what I need. And there we go. It takes me to Google. So that's one option. I can link like that to a URL or a website that is owned by somebody else. But another thing that I can do is actually link to another HTML document that I've created. So I could make another new file. I'll call this one, how about just about.html. And I'll put it in the same folder with my chickens file. And I'm just going to very quickly add some basic markup in here. So I use that exclamation point shortcut to get my skeleton. And then I'll change the title just to about page. And then in the body, I'll put an H1, about me. And then maybe a paragraph, I am a human. Something very, very simple. Okay? So I have about.html and chickens.html, and they're in the same folder. You can see them right there in the same folder together. If I wanted to link from this page, chickens, to my about page, which exists, I could actually visit it myself if I just go to /about.html, assuming that it's in the correct place. Users, cold steel, code, HTML intro, about.html. There we go. But what I want to do is actually set up a link. So I'll go with I'm a link to Google, and then I'll do another anchor tag. And if I do a tab, you'll see that it actually gives me the href attribute automatically. So I'm going to put in, instead of a HTTP URL, I'm just going to go to about.html. Relative to where I am right now in chickens.html, is this what I want? Well, let's see. Let's go with about page as the link text. Okay, here it is. And it took me to about.html. Awesome. So Google and about. And on the about page, if I wanted, I could add an anchor tag to go to chickens.html. So I'll add an anchor tag down here, chickens.html, go home. Refresh the page. Now I have a link here on the chickens, on the about.html to go back to chickens. Okay, so that's kind of all there is to anchor tags. They're really, really commonly used. Notice that they are inline, something we will continue to learn more about, but what I mean is that they don't take up their own line, like an H1 does, or an H2, an H3, or a paragraph. They just fit in with the flow of the rest of the content, like a bold element does. So if I wanted to make a link, let's just do one from Wikipedia. We've got domesticated. How about fowl? We will make that fowl a link just like it is on Wikipedia. So I'm going to copy that URL right there. And then find on my chickens.html, find the piece that I want to make into the link. It's right there. I'll make my anchor tag, a tab, and then I'll put fowl in the middle as the text that should show up. And the href, where'd you go? The href will be the link I copied. Okay, so I just put it in there inside of those quotation marks. Let's refresh the page. Stop trying to translate my lorem ipsum from Latin. And here we go. We have a link now. I click it, and it takes me to that Wikipedia entry. So I'm not going to waste your time doing every single link on this Wikipedia page. There's hundreds of them, but they all follow the same pattern. If we look at one of them, like the cockfighting link, if I inspect it, what do you know? It's an anchor tag with an href. So that's all for anchor tags, and that's our first example of using an attribute. We will see another example in the following video when we create image elements.